Meeting of the Senate Judiciary Committee will come to order. I thank all those in attendance. I want to preface my remarks by saying that I've been in Congress for a few years. Senator Graham has as well. If you do not believe this is an idea whose time has come, take a look at the turnout here. Today, the Senate Judiciary Committee will continue its work on an issue on the mind of most American families: how to keep our kids safe from sexual exploitation and harm in the internet age. Online child sexual exploitation includes the use of online platforms to target and groom children, and the production and endless distribution of child sexual abuse material, CSAM, which can haunt victims for their entire lives and in some cases take their lives. Everyone here will agree this conduct is abhorrent. I'd like to turn to a brief video to hear directly from the victims, the survivors, about the impact these crimes have had on them.
I was sexually exploited on Facebook.
I was sexually exploited on Instagram.
I was sexually exploited on X.
This is my daughter, Olivia.
This is our son, Matthew.
Look at how beautiful Miriam is.
My son, Riley, died from suicide after being sexually exploited on Facebook.
The child that gets exploited is never the same ever again.
I reported this issue numerous times, and it took over a decade before anyone helped me.
You might be able to tell that I am using a green screen. Why is that? In the internet world, my past abusers can contact me. Fans of my abuse material as a child can find me and contact me.
As a 17-year-old child, I had to write a victim impact statement after being extorted for 4 consecutive years. While I was strong enough to resist sending him any more pictures, there were dozens more who were not.
We got a phone call to find out that my son was in his room and was suicidal. He was only 13 years old at the time. Him and a friend had been exploited online and trafficked. And my son reached out to Twitter, or now X. His response was, "Thank you for reaching out. We reviewed the content and we did not find a violation of our policies. So no action will be taken at this time."
How many more kids like Matthew?
Like Olivia.
Like Riley.
How many more kids will suffer and die because of social media?
Big tech failed to protect my child from sexual exploitation.
Big tech failed to protect me from online sexual exploitation.
And we need Congress to do something for our children and protect them.
It's not too late. It's not too late to do something about it.
Online child sexual exploitation is a crisis in America. In 2013, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, known as NCMEC, received approximately 1,380 cyber tips per day. By 2023, just 10 years later, the number of cyber tips has risen to 100,000 reports a day. That's 100,000 daily reports of child sexual abuse material, also known as CSAM. In recent years, we've also seen an explosion in the so-called financial sextortion, in which a predator uses a fake social media account to trick a minor into sending explicit photos or videos, then threatens to release them unless the victim sends money. In 2021, NCMEC received a total of 139 reports of sextortion, 2021. In 2023, through the end of October alone, this number skyrocketed to more than 22,000. More than a dozen children have died by suicide after becoming victims of this crime. This disturbing growth in child sexual exploitation is driven by one thing: changes in technology. In 1996, the world's best-selling cell phone was the Motorola StarTAC. While groundbreaking at the time, the clamshell-style cell phone wasn't much different from a traditional phone. It allowed users to make and receive calls and even receive text messages, but that was about it. Fast forward to today. Smartphones are in the pockets of seemingly every man, woman, and teenager on the planet. Like the StarTAC today, today's smartphones allow users to make and receive calls and text, but they can also take photos and videos, support live streaming, and offer countless apps. With the touch of your finger, that smartphone that can entertain and inform you can become a back alley where the lives of your children are damaged and destroyed. These apps have changed the ways we live, work, and play. But as investigations have detailed, social media and messaging apps have also given predators powerful new tools to sexually exploit children. Your carefully crafted algorithms can be more a powerful force on the lives of our children than even the most best-intentioned parent. Discord has been used to groom, abduct, and abuse children. Meta's Instagram helped connect and promote a network of pedophiles. Snapchat's disappearing messages have been co-opted by criminals who financially extort young victims. TikTok has become a, quote, platform of choice for predators to access, engage, and groom children for abuse. And the prevalence of CSAM on X has grown as the company has gutted its trust and safety workforce. Today, we'll hear from the CEOs of those companies. They are not only the tech companies that have contributed to this crisis, they are responsible for many of the dangers our children face online. Their design choices, their failures to adequately invest in trust and safety, their constant pursuit of engagement and profit over basic safety have all put our kids and grandkids at risk. Coincidentally, several of these companies implemented common sense child safety improvements within the last week, days before their CEOs would have to justify their lack of action before this committee. But the tech industry alone is not to blame for the situation we're in. Those of us in Congress need to look in the mirror. In 1996, the same year the Motorola StarTAC was flying off shelves, and years before social media went mainstream, we passed Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. This law immunized the then fledgling internet platforms from liability for user-generated content. Interesting, only one other industry in America has an immunity from civil liability. We'll leave that for another day. For the past 30 years, Section 230 has remained largely unchanged, allowing big tech to grow into the most profitable industry in the history of capitalism without fear of liability for unsafe practices. That has to change. Over the past year, this committee has unanimously reported 5 bills that would finally hold tech companies accountable for child sexual exploitation on their platforms. Unanimous. Take a look at the composition and membership of the Senate Judiciary Committee and imagine, if you will, there's anything we could agree on unanimously. These 5 bills were the object of agreement. One of these bills is by Stop CSAM Act. Critically, it would let victims sue online providers that promote or aid and abet online child sexual exploitation or that host or store CSAM. This stand against online child sexual exploitation is bipartisan and absolutely necessary. Let this hearing be a call to action that we need to get kids' online safety legislation to the president's desk. I now turn to the ranking member, Senator Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Republicans will answer the call. All of us, every one of us, is ready to work with you and our Democratic colleagues on this committee to prove to the American people, while Washington is certainly broken, there's a ray of hope, and it is here. It lies with your children. After years of working on this issue with you and others, I've come to conclude the following. Social media companies, as they are currently designed and operate, are dangerous products. They're destroying lives, threatening democracy itself. These companies must be reined in, or the worst is yet to come. Gavin Guffey is a representative, Republican representative from South Carolina in the Rock Hill area. To all the victims who came and showed us photos of your loved ones, don't quit. It's working. You're making a difference. Through you, we'll get to where we need to go so other people won't have to show a photo of their family. The damage to your family's been done. Hopefully we can take your pain and turn it into something positive so nobody else has to hold up a sign. Gavin's son got online with Instagram and was tricked by a group in Nigeria that put up a young lady posing to be his girlfriend. And as things go at that stage in life, he gave her some photos, compromising sexual photos, and it turned out that she was part of a extortion group in Nigeria. They threatened the young man that if you don't give us money, we're going to expose these photos. He gave them money, but it wasn't enough. They kept threatening, and he killed himself. They threatened Mr. Guffey and a son. These are bastards by any known definition. Mr. Zuckerberg, you and the companies before us, I know you don't mean it to be so, but you have blood on your hands. You have a product. You have a product that's killing people. When we had cigarettes killing people, we did some about it, maybe not enough. You're going to talk about guns, we have the ATF. Nothing here. There's not a damn thing anybody can do about it. You can't be sued. Now, Senator Blumenthal and Blackburn, who've been like the dynamic duo here, have found emails from your company where they warned you about this stuff, and you decided not to hire 45 people that could do a better job of policing this. So the bottom line is you can't be sued. You should be. And these emails would be great for punitive damages. But the courtroom's closed to every American abused by all the companies in front of me. Of all the people in America we could give blanket liability protection to, this would be the last group I would pick. It is now time to repeal Section 230. This committee is made up of ideologically most different people you could find. We've come together through your leadership, Mr. Chairman, to pass 5 bills to deal with the problem of exploitation of children. I'll talk about them in depth in a little bit. The bottom line is all these bills have met the same fate. They go nowhere. They leave the committee and they die. Now, there's another approach. What do you do with dangerous products? You either allow lawsuits, you have statutory protections to protect consumers, or you have a commission of sorts to regulate the industry in question, to take your license away if you have a license, to fine you. None of that exists here. We live in America in 2024 where there is no regulatory body dealing with the most profitable, biggest companies in the history of the world. They can't be sued, and there's not one law on the book that's meaningful protecting the American consumer. Other than that, we're in a good spot. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think after this hearing today, we're going to put a lot of pressure on our colleagues, leadership of the Republican Democratic Senate, to let these bills get to the floor and vote. And I'm going to go down, starting in a couple of weeks, make unanimous consent request to do CSAM, do the Earn It Act, do your bill, do all the bills, and you can be famous, come and object. I'm going to give you a chance to be famous. Now, Elizabeth Warren and Lindsey Graham have almost nothing in common. I promised her I would say that publicly. The only thing worse than me doing a bill with Elizabeth Warren is her doing a bill with me. We have sort of parked that because Elizabeth and I see an abuse here that needs to be dealt with. Senator Durbin and I have different political philosophies, but I appreciate what you've done on this committee. You've been a great partner. To all of my Democratic colleagues, thank you very, very much. To my Republican colleagues, thank you all very, very much. Save the applause for when we get a result. It's all talk right now. But there'll come a day, if we keep pressing, to get the right answer for the American people. What is that answer? Accountability. Now, these products have an upside. You've enriched our lives in many ways. Mr. Zuckerberg, you created a product I use. The idea, I think, when you first came up with this, be able to talk to your friends and your family and pass on your life, to be able to have a place where you could talk to your friends and family about good things going on in life. And I use it. We all use it. There's an upside to everything here, but the dark side hasn't been dealt with. It's now time to deal with the dark side because people have taken your idea and they've turned it into a nightmare for the American people. They've turned it into a nightmare for the world at large. TikTok. We had a great discussion about how maybe Larry Ellison through Oracle can protect American data from Chinese communist influence. But TikTok, your representative in Israel quit the company because TikTok is being used in a way to basically destroy the Jewish state. This is not just about individuals. I worry that in 2024, our democracy will be attacked again through these platforms by foreign actors. We're exposed, and AI is just starting. So to my colleagues, we're here for a reason. This committee has a history of being tough, but also doing things that need to be done. This committee has risen to the occasion. There's more that we can do. But to the members of this committee, let's insist that our colleagues rise to the occasion also. Let's make sure that in the 118th Congress, we have votes that would fix this problem. All you can do is cast your vote at the end of the day, but you can urge the system to require others to cast their vote. Mr. Chairman, I will continue to work with you and everybody on this committee to have a day of reckoning on the floor of the United States Senate. Thank you.